but here, Coach Q finally ready to talk some Spartan boys basketball. Coach, you have a very different team than what you had last year. Lost some key players. Talk to us sort of about what you're seeing right now from your team.
Seeing some good things. We're seeing guys that want to compete. Guys that obviously was, in the back seat of the car last year are now the guys that have to be driving the car this year. So right now we're seeing a lot of hot and cold moments, some inconsistent moments. So, we obviously need to game fast because we've had a long preseason. So I think once we start playing games, we can kind of go back and fix some of the things that we're not doing that's conducive to how we want to play this year. So again, right now we're seeing some inconsistencies with practices. Effort-wise, guys just have to get used to going hard each and every day. And I think once we reach that point, we'll be a lot better.
Who are those guys that you really need to look to lead the team this year? And who are probably going to see out there in the starting five for the most part?
Right now, we really that's the kind of unique thing right now. Similar to last year, we have about 9 guys that we can throw out there. Obviously, Jar Ward is our best player. That's no mystery. Obviously, Keaton Upshaw is going to be our force inside. He's a guy that can also step out and hit some shots. B.J. Miller is a guy that can kind of, lead the team. We look to him to lead the team. And outside of those 3 guys, we have a lot of guys that can do some things. Jaleel King's a sophomore, having a great, preseason so far. Corey Clare, long, 6'4" kid, extremely long. Jaleel Long, about a 6'2" kid, long. Marquise Coleman, about the same, long. So we have some guys, that can do some different things. Titus Schutz, it's about 6'4", can do some good things to help the team. But, it goes on, how those guys perform in practice. And, our practices have to get better. They have to compete more. They have to push each other more. And we've done that, but we haven't done it day in and day out. And once we get to that point where guys are doing it each and every day, and they kind of put the friendship / relationship part of it to the side and push each other, we'll be a scary team to play against.
So you get started on Friday, up to Toledo, St. Francis, and then turn around back home here on Tuesday with Toledo St. John's. Are those the teams to beat this year in the track? Talk about the track.
Correct. Obviously Toledo St. John's is the favorite. I think they're probably the favorite every year. They're a good team, very well coached. They have some good players that can play at a high level. So it's going to obviously be tough. I'm glad we have them at home. Hopefully we can get our crowd behind us, and that'll give us a boost. St. Francis is very scary. They have to be probably second in the track. They have everybody returning from last season, and they also added a big kid from Michigan. So, they're going to be good. I've watched them play. We've watched those guys twice. So, we have our hands cut out, and it's a road game. And I believe it's the first home conference game for those guys on Friday. So, everybody understands in our conference you have to defend your home. So, we have to go up there with our backs against the wall and try to come out with a win. And that's what we're prepared to do.
It's a little tough coming off. You come off a season like you had last year. Is there extra pressure, expectations for you guys? How do you deal with that starting this new season after what you guys went through last year?
Obviously it is tough to a certain degree. I don't think anybody would say anything different, but you move on. You move on to the caliber of kids you have, and you try to coach those kids up, and you try to get the most you can get out of those kids. Pressure, not at all. These kids, these are Lima, typical Lima kids, so they understand, the magnitude on how we want to play. The thing with me is, putting emotions to the side. I tell these kids, quit worrying about me yelling and screaming. Take that out the equation and just accept the message that I'm trying to deliver. Again, a few inconsistent practices. I think yesterday was one of our better practices. I called my entire junior class in. It's kind of odd because most coaches would lean on their senior class. Well, I called my junior class in for a meeting with just the juniors. And I wanted them guys to take a more leadership role, and I'm going to start holding those guys more accountable. So, our expectations is the same as last year. We want to win the track, and we want to shoot for Columbus. And I think the day that we don't have those expectations, that's a problem. I think we have some pieces. It's up to the coaches to put it together, but we definitely have some things about our team that we're excited about.
Let me ask you about the QP Holiday Classic coming up next weekend. Who's coming in for that tournament? What's it going to look like, the matchups?
It should be pretty exciting. We have a prep school, a big-time prep school out of Pennsylvania, First Love Christian Academy, coming in on Friday. They'll play Dayton Ponitz, and then we'll play a team out of Detroit, Oak Park. I have no idea how good they are, but we just added them this week, and then on Saturday, Dayton Ponitz is playing Wilmington, the team that we played in the Final Four of the state championship last year, and then we'll play the prep school out of Pennsylvania. So obviously it's a little bit more than 4 teams, but 2 games each night, 2 competitive games for us, which we think will also help us in the long run.
These are good teams for the community to come out and see. They're going to get some good basketball if they come out next weekend, right?
Yeah, definitely. Some of the better teams that you could ask for at this stage of the season. It's early. The team out of Michigan, I don't know a lot about them, but I'm sure they'll be scrappy. I know a couple kids that's off their team from the AAU circuit, and those guys can obviously play. Anytime you play in a prep school, that's going to be big time. So we're going to have our hands cut. Dayton basketball is just really good within itself. And when you play Wilmington, a well-coached team, guys that understand the game and play the game well. So we're excited to have all the teams here, and hopefully, we can be productive and represent Lima well.